The perspectives shared in the following segment are based on analysis and interpretation, not official confirmation. We navigate the realms of what might be, not what has been declared. Tune in with a curious mind.
Joy's voice sharpens, dipping into the rhythm she uses when cornering a guest. She tilts her head, eyebrow lifted in challenge, and asks another question that lands like a small explosion. The audience goes completely silent, no cough, no rustle, just breathless stillness. Luke reacts with a single, controlled exhale. His shoulders loosen, but his gaze locks in, unshakable. He leans forward just enough to show he is not intimidated. His response comes, wrapped in calm, but charged with unmistakable force, a verbal counterpunch delivered with perfect precision. The cameras seem to lean closer. The co-hosts glance at each other, expressions tight with worry. They cannot interrupt. They can only watch as the balance of power shifts. Joy pushes, but Luke pushes back, not with aggression, but with a grounded strength that begins to tilt the entire table. Joy feels it. A flicker in her smile betrays her. Her eyes dart to the producers briefly, but she returns to Luke, refusing to show weakness. The silence between exchanges grows heavier, more charged. Every word is a choice. Every breath is a signal. Slowly, unmistakably, the power begins to move. It slides across the table like a shadow changing direction. Luke's voice steadies further. Joy's questions press harder but land less cleanly. The audience's attention locks on Luke, drawn to the calm fire rising behind his eyes. What began as a gentle interview has transformed into a collision course. The moment builds so slowly, it is almost unnoticeable until it snaps all at once. Joy Behar leans in, eyes sharp, posture lifted with the confidence of someone about to land a final blow. The studio lights flicker across her expression, revealing a glint equal parts daring and defiant. She inhales slightly and lets out the question that has been sitting at the edge like a loaded trap. It comes wrapped in humor, but the undercurrent is unmistakably pointed. The words spill into the air like a dropped match onto gasoline. The room freezes. There is not a breath, not a whisper. The entire studio is locked inside a single suspended heartbeat. One camera zooms in on Luke's face, catching the instant his eyes widen in recognition. Another cuts to the audience, mouths parted, waiting. Luke does not move at first. His hands remain still, but his jaw sets with a quiet, decisive click. The temperature shifts again, sharper, like a rush of cold air. Luke lifts his gaze, steady and unblinking. The camera locks onto him as though it knows history is about to unfold. Joy smiles, thinking she has the upper hand, but her smile flickers when Luke finally moves. He leans forward, slow and deliberate, planting his elbows lightly on his knees. The lighting catches the steel in his eyes. He lets the silence stretch until the tension tightens like a wire about to snap. When he speaks, his voice is low, clear, an impossibly direct contrast to the chaos. His words cut through the air with surgical precision, sharp enough to make the audience collectively flinch. It is not loud, not angry, it is controlled power. A verbal strike delivered with the ease of a man who knows how devastating honesty can be. In the audience, someone gasps. Another mutters, "Oh my God." The camera nearest Luke wobbles as the operator reacts. Joy's smile collapses. Her eyes widen with the first visible crack of surprise. She tries to respond, but no sound comes out. Her throat tightens. Her knuckles whiten as she grips the table. The remaining hosts shift uneasily, expressions a mix of panic and disbelief. One attempts to jump in, but stops, realizing the moment is too big to interrupt. The control room erupts into frantic movement, producers waving, engineers scrambling, someone yelling to switch angles. Red lights blink like an alarm. But on the main floor, everything feels frozen. Luke leans back again, calm, collected, impossibly composed. The fire behind his eyes has settled into something even more dangerous, certainty. He knows exactly what he just did. The audience knows. Joy knows. Everyone feels the seismic shift as the power slams fully, decisively into his hands. Joy finally exhales, shaky and uneven. She looks down at her cards, searching for an anchor that is not there. The silence becomes heavy, suffocating. The audience is torn between awe and shock. A camera moves in on Joy's stunned face. Another swings to Luke, capturing the quiet strength radiating off him. Time feels fractured, stretching around the impact. Then, like a dam cracking, the audience erupts. Some cheer, some shout, some stare with hands over mouths. The hosts exchange frantic glances. Joy tries to recover, but the words falter. Nothing she says can undo what happened. The View, known for its storms, has never felt a shockwave like this. The moment does not stay contained. It bursts outward the second the cameras cut, racing through the building like thunder. Producers rush with frantic whispers, faces pale. In the control room, someone mutters, "This is going to blow up," and another replies, "It already has." Outside, the world reacts with lightning speed. Clips hit social media within minutes. Grainy phone recordings from audience members shaking with adrenaline. On Twitter, posts multiply like sparks. "Did you see that?" Floods timelines. Hashtags explode. Comment sections ignite. Some defend Luke fiercely. Others rally behind Joy. The digital arena becomes a battleground. Millions of eyes lock on the moment that shattered daytime television's calm facade. Celebrities weigh in before the episode finishes airing. Country stars, comedians, actors all step into the fray. Every comment becomes a headline. Every headline becomes fuel. Hollywood gossip sites pounce. Articles erupt with dramatic titles and flashing thumbnails. Analysts debate. Commentators pick apart posture, tone, every micro-expression. Paparazzi swarm outside the studio. Inside, a crisis meeting snaps into motion. Producers replay the clip, analyzing every second, voices tense with urgency. Words like *damage control*, and *emergency response*, echo like warning bells. Meanwhile, Luke steps into a quiet hallway, his phone vibrating non-stop. Messages flood in, some cheering, some checking if he is okay. Fans swarm his mentions with fire emojis and applause. He scrolls past critics with a slow, steady breath. He knows the moment was big, but the certainty of what he said anchors him. Joy retreats to her dressing room, closing the door with a soft click. She scrolls through notifications, some supportive, others brutal. Her fans rally with fierce loyalty, but the backlash hits hard, too. She exhales long and slow, fingertips pressing against her temples. Outside, the hallway buzzes with whispers. Crew members exchange stunned looks. One mutters, "We just made history." Another whispers, "History or trouble." What everyone knows is this: the confrontation did not end when the cameras stopped. It spread fast, fierce, and unstoppable through Hollywood, social media, and the entertainment world. The moment has taken on a life of its own. When the cameras go dark and the chaos thins, the truths no one dared to voice slip through the cracks. Behind closed doors, away from the noise, deeper motivations surface. Luke sits quietly in a waiting room, thoughtful, replaying every word with calm clarity. He had walked in ready to be challenged, but he knew that line had been waiting for him long before today. Joy, in her own space, confronts a different truth. The question that ignited everything was not improvised. It was chosen, a card she debated, hesitated on, but kept because she felt she had to push, to provoke something real. She did not expect the explosion, but she sparked it knowingly. Down the hallway, the crew whispers. A stagehand recounts feeling the air change seconds before the final blow. A camera operator swears he saw Luke's eyes shift just before his line. A producer mutters they had feared this kind of moment would erupt someday. Details trickle out. Joy scrapped 3 questions right before the show. Luke paced more than usual backstage. The control room had prepared backup segments, a decision that now feels prophetic. In the quiet after the storm, one thing becomes clear: the confrontation was not born from a single question. It was years of tension, pressure, and expectation converging into one explosive second. In the days that follow, the moment settles into Hollywood lore, riddled with the reverence of an iconic movie scene. Commentators call it a turning point. Fans call it unforgettable. Insiders whisper it marks a shift where unscripted truth cuts sharper than any planned segment. The significance lies not only in the clash, but in what it revealed: Luke's calm fire. Joy's unwavering push, the collision of 2 forces who believed strongly enough to let the world watch. It becomes a reminder. That real emotion still has the power to break through television's polished veneer. Weeks later, people still talk about the silence before Luke's defining line, the gasp. Joy's slipping mask, the camera catching every flicker of expression as if documenting history. It becomes a reference point, a story told on late-night shows, podcasts, and in industry meetings. Everyone has a take. Everyone has a moment burned into their memory. Hollywood has a history of dramatic confrontations, but this one hits different. It carries the weight of authenticity, the rawness of two people who refuse to step back. Long after the noise fades, the moment remains unshakable, unmistakable. A reminder that sometimes reality slips through the cracks of entertainment and becomes something unforgettable. The studio audience settles into a tense quiet, the stage lights sharpening like 1,000 watchful eyes. An energy shifts in the air, a palpable pulse felt beneath the skin. Luke Bryan steps onto the set with his familiar, easy stride. But a heavier atmosphere makes every camera operator lean in closer. Joy Behar sits poised, her smile controlled and curious, already planning her next move. As Luke takes his seat, the room seems to freeze. Conversations fade, machinery quiets, and the audience stills as if sensing an imminent collision. A wave of anticipation builds, subtle then strong, rising just before it breaks. Joy's eyes narrow with a glint of playful challenge. Luke's jaw tightens with a calm strength that warns he is prepared. The first question drops, light on the surface but edged with something sharper. It slices the air clean in half. Luke hears it, weighs it, and lets the silence stretch long enough to draw every heartbeat into alignment. Something flickers behind his eyes, something the audience feels, but cannot name. A collective shiver runs through the studio. Behind a camera, a producer inhales sharply. A stagehand stops mid-step. No one knows what Luke is about to say, but everyone feels the fuse catch fire. This moment is not planned, not safe. It is the first crack in what is about to become a Hollywood shockwave. Somewhere in that breathless quiet, the promise of an explosive line begins to bloom. The storm begins long before the audience takes their seats, in the quiet corners of the studio. Backstage, the energy hums with a tension that feels alive. Like the air before lightning splits the sky, Luke Bryan arrives earlier than expected, his boots echoing with measured, steady steps. Beneath his calm exterior, something churns, a blend of curiosity, caution, and the readiness of a man who knows how quickly a conversation can turn into a battlefield. Joy Behar sits in her dressing room, flipping through note cards with a sharp, practiced rhythm. Her eyes narrow on a particular question, one wrapped in controversy, one she knows could ignite. She is not nervous. She is calculating. In the control room, producers whisper in low, urgent tones. They know Joy's outline, they know Luke's reputation, and they know this combination could go sideways fast. The audience trickles in with excited chatter, completely unaware of the gathering storm only feet away. They do not see the tension in the producer's shoulders or the stage manager's quickened pace. Luke stands near the stage entrance, rolling his shoulders slightly. Joy steps out of her dressing room, rehearsed calm radiating from her like a shield. Their gazes meet for 1 second, and something electric and volatile crackles between them. The stage manager calls that they are going live. Luke nods, Joy smiles. The crew stiffens. The audience cheers. No one knows they are standing on the edge of a moment that will erupt with enough force to echo across Hollywood. The conversation starts almost gently, like calm water hiding a current beneath. The studio lights glow softly. The audience leans forward with easy smiles, unaware of the tremor under the floor. Luke settles in with a polite grin. Joy welcomes him with a bright, disarming tone, her voice sweet but carrying an invisible edge. For a moment, it feels harmless, almost friendly. Then Joy lifts her first card, her fingers pausing for half a second, a hesitation so subtle most miss it. Luke doesn't. His eyes track the motion like a man reading a room before taking his first step. Joy's smile deepens but no longer reaches her eyes. She leans in and delivers the opening question with a softness misleading enough to feel dangerous. The atmosphere shifts sharply, like a sudden drop in temperature. Luke hears the change instantly. The audience feels it but does not understand why. The crew behind the cameras straightens, bracing. Luke lets the question settle for 2 heartbeats, his silence thickening the air. His jaw tightens, then relaxes a subtle tell. He answers politely at first, his voice a smooth, low rumble that hints at a quiet boundary. Joy tilts her head, taking in every detail. She senses it. He senses it. The room senses it. Tension ripples outward, gentle enough to hide an audience laughter, but strong enough to vibrate through every word. Luke shifts slightly in his seat, grounding himself with the instinct of a performer. His hands remain still, but his fingers curl inward just a fraction. Joy moves to her next point with a slow, deliberate rhythm, circling back with precision. The audience chuckles, unaware they are stepping closer to a flame. Luke studies her. His eyes sharpen. His expression stays even, but a flicker appears quick and bright, like the first spark on dry wood. He leans in slightly, answering with more weight. His tone is steady but carries a new undertone. He is fully aware of where Joy is steering this. He meets her head-on, calm and unshaken. In that instant, the temperature in the room rises a single, perceptible degree. A producer inhales sharply behind the camera. A stagehand freezes. Joy's smile twitches, fleeting but enough to reveal she felt the spark, too. Luke holds her gaze, letting the silence stretch a heartbeat longer. It hits the room like a slow, rolling drumbeat. The conversation eases into motion with a deceptive softness, trying to convince everyone they are safe. Luke leans back with a warm, easy grin. The illusion lasts exactly 5 seconds. Joy's fingers brush the edge of her first card. The moment she glances down, something shifts. Luke catches it instantly, his eyes tracking the movement like a man studying the first ripple in a still pond. Joy lifts her gaze, smile bright but sharpened at the edges, and releases the first question. The tone is light, almost hiding the weight tucked inside. The words drop between them like a stone hitting water, sending a subtle shockwave across the table. The audience laughs softly, unaware of the sudden pulse of tension. Luke feels the pressure press against his spine, not overwhelming, but enough to force sharper focus. He exhales through his nose, straightens just a fraction, and answers with calm precision. His voice is smooth but firm, each word placed with deliberate care. Joy studies him, her expression softening for a split moment before her eyes narrow with calculation. Luke's hand rests on his knee, fingers tapping subtly. Joy leans in, elbows edging closer, her posture shifting into something more alert, more ready to push. The room senses the change before anyone speaks again. Laughter quiets. Equipment hum fades. A stillness stretches across the set like a thick curtain. Joy's voice lifts again, with more edge, looping back with a clever twist. Luke tilts his head slightly, eyes narrowing with controlled fire. He is fully awake now, aware the conversation is shifting into deeper waters. He leans forward with slow, steady confidence, delivering his next line with precision that cuts cleanly through the air. The audience reacts with a mix of laughter and surprise. Joy blinks once, quick and subtle, then recovers with a tight smile. Behind the cameras, a producer stiffens. Another freezes mid-motion. Luke notices everything: the tightening expressions, the shifting energy, the faint buzz of tension threading through the room like electricity. Joy lifts her next card. Luke's fingers curl slightly against his knee. The silence between them thickens. In that suspended heartbeat, a quiet realization settles over the studio, undeniable, like distant thunder rolling across an open sky. This is only the beginning. Everyone can feel it. Joy does not waste a second. The moment the audience's reaction fades, she leans forward with a spark in her eyes that makes the crew shift nervously. Her fingers brush the next card, the paper bending under her grip, and she releases another question, sharper, heavier, aimed with precision. The tone remains playful, but the words slice through the air like a blade wrapped in velvet. Luke hears the shift. His posture straightens. His jaw tenses. The warmth in his smile cools into something steadier, anchored. He answers without flinching, his voice controlled and low, threaded with a smoothness that masks the steel beneath. Each word lands with quiet clarity, firm enough to hold the line, but polished enough to keep the tone civil. Joy listens, nodding, her smile tightening into something thin and unreadable. She circles back, nudging from another angle, pushing with more force. The studio lights seem to grow warmer. The audience shifts silently. Every breath stalls, suspended. Luke lifts his chin slightly. His eyes narrow in focus. He is not letting her steer him into a corner. His reply comes sharper, now not impolite, but undeniably firm. A line is drawn with subtle precision. A ripple runs through the audience, a soft gasp swallowed before it escapes. The words between them turn into weapons, pointed and intentional. Joy fires another question. Luke meets it with a calm, slicing response. The temperature rises degree by degree until the air itself vibrates. A co-host shifts uncomfortably, her smile faltering. Another tries to interject with light cheer, desperate to break the tension. But the energy on the set swallows her whole. Joy does not turn. Luke does not look away. The conversation belongs to them now.